Dustin and Weston, congratulations. You fellas have made it to the third and final round of this competition. Now, when you came here, we had you make Japanese bushcraft knives called nadas. Now we're sending you back to your home forges to recreate this iconic weapon from history. You ready to see what it is?
Yes, sir.
All right, that weapon is the Zulu warax. Good luck, bladesmiths. We'll see you in 4 days.
Good luck. Good luck.
Spent a little bit of time in South Africa, so I've seen some small versions of this. I'm planning on doing a Damascus exterior on both sides, and then I'm gonna leave a 80 CRV2 internal core. First weld on the billet looks like it's going really well. It's time to draw the billet out. I'll cut it and reforge it. That should get me 57 layers of Damascus. I'm gonna twist that to make a really cool pattern. Now it's time to stack it with 80 CRV2 so that if something happens with one of my welds, the axe still has a good, strong, solid core. It was a good day of forging. I'll have to definitely step it up tomorrow to get back into it. All right, that was fun.
So my goals for today are to get the axe head roughly shaped, hopefully get the tang drawn out to where I like it, and get bevels hammered in. I start by forging out the top of the axe. As I'm drawing it out, I'm hammering bevels in. Gotten about 1.5 inches, 2.5 more to go. I've got the Zulu axe to where I would like it to be. It's pretty well to shape. And now it's time to address the oddly placed tang. Unfortunately, my opening's just not big enough to allow me to go back and forth, so I've got to cut the whole front of the forge out. And now we have a nice big opening to come straight in. The length of my tang is the biggest obstacle right now. It's too skinny as well as short. It's something I want to tackle first thing in the morning because if I can't fix it, I want to start over as soon as possible rather than wasting any time.
It's the morning of day 2. I'm working on the billet. Game plan is to split it and start forging out the tang. I've noticed that there's a couple cracks. I'm going to grind down through those areas and see if they grind out as I get closer to my final shape. My plan for getting the tang to attach, I'm gonna cut a little notch to the length of my tang. So then we'll heat it up, chisel down, push that out, and draw out our tang, finish our blade. Now it's just drawing it out to length to make sure I meet parameters. Going into the quench, I'm feeling a little nervous. Those cracks in the blade that I'd seen earlier, I think I've got them ground down. I think we dodged a bullet on this one. I think it's looking really good.
So I start today off with a problem with my tang. My tang is just way too skinny as well as short. I cut 2 pieces of high carbon steel, fit them up next to my tang. I weld them in to make it wider and longer. But with so much going right, eventually something's gonna go wrong. My breaker blew. I'll be back in 1 second. I really hope this isn't a reoccurring issue today. I have a lot of work to do when I build my quench tank, and there's a lot of welding involved to do so. My quench tank is gonna be like a trough style. I'm gonna horizontally quench it. So I'm getting ready to weld, and I'm thinking it's gonna be fine. As soon as it tries to start, poof, my breaker goes out. So back and forth and back and forth. So many, many trips to the breaker later, I have a finished quench tank. I feel good now. I'm happy. What a pain in the ass that was, man. Now I've got to get it quenched. So I go into the oil, and I've got this thing quenched, straight, skates like glass, solid as an oak. I couldn't be happier.
Top of day 4. The game plan for today is put the final edge on the blade and then try to get the wood section of this build figured out. I've got a section of Osage orange that I've been working on, and I've got another section of African ebony. I'd really like to use the ebony. I think the black would work great with the Damascus. Best way to tell if this handle will hold up to the judges' testing is to test it here first. Yep. Just what you don't want to have happen to your expensive, beautiful piece of ebony, but better here than there. Now it's back to the Osage orange handle. Before I do the final glue up and get my blade mounted to the axe handle, I want to get the final edge put on the blade. The convex grind I've put on this should have enough backing behind it to keep the edge from having any damage if it hits wood or bone. It's looking sharp. Time's up, and there's nothing else I can do to it. I feel like it's going to perform well. It should be able to handle all the tests. Liking it. It's looking good.
Plans for today are to do some more grinding on my axe head, and I've got to do a little bit more work to my handle. I'm gonna spend a little time on the grinder, cleaning it up, getting it to where I want it to be. Now the blade is 90% done without an edge on it. It's time to get back to my handle. So now I'm gonna do some burn work on this handle. I've never done it before, so I hope it really makes the grain pop. It definitely came out really nice. So now to finish the blade, I'm gonna do an acid edge. I'm really stoked right now. It's just better than I could have imagined. So I put a convex edge on it, something that can withstand smashing, but can also be sharp enough to slice. Awesome.
Your Zulu warax look quite scary, but it's time to find out what kind of lethal damage they can do. To find that out, I will take your weapon, deliver some chops and slashes on this boar carcass. Dustin, you're up first. You ready for this?
Let's do it.
Do it.
Well done, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Dustin, let's talk about your Zulu warax. It's quite surprising that something this light, with not a lot of metal, can cut deep into this boar carcass. Your blade stayed true. The handle construction is ovoid enough to where, even though it tapers, I have a very good feel for it. Overall, sir, it will kill.
Thank you.
All right, Weston, your turn. So you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, Weston, let's talk about your Zulu warax here. What I find interesting here is that the design of this blade, there's a sweet spot in here with a little bit of weight, so that first swing alone cut in very deep. There are no glints or rolls on it. The handle construction is ovoid enough to where I get a good grip and I can get a good feel on it. And more importantly, sir, it will kill.
Thank you.
Bladesmiths, welcome to the strength test, the ammo box chop. I'm going to test the strength and durability of your axes by smashing them into these ammo boxes. Remember, this test is all about what those boxes do to your axes and not the other way around. Dustin, you're up first. You ready?
Let's do it.
Well, Dustin, got an obvious issue here. I'm looking at your grain in here. It's beautiful. It's nice and velvety, tight. But right here, there's a little dark spot, which was a crack. It happened right where the join of your tang and your blade is. And that little crack is a stress riser, and it leads to big failure.
Sure.
All right, Dustin, your blade has broke on the third strike against these ammo boxes in our strength test. Now, that doesn't mean that you're out of this competition. Your competitor still has to endure the same rigors. Weston, that means that your blade must survive 3 strikes against these ammo boxes. And if it does, you'll be the new Forge and Fire champion, taking home that check for 10 grand. You guys ready for this?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, Ben.
All right, Weston, how you feeling?
Nervous. Thanks.
Well, Weston, it held up. Nice job. This is a nice light axe, a lot of fun to swing. With every swing, I could feel the reverberation, just it kind of jiggling in my hands. It was singing. Really well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Weston, congratulations. Your blade held up. Dustin, that means that your blade doesn't make the cut. I'd like to invite you to shake our hands, shake your competitor's hand, and then exit the forge. Great job, man.
Thank you, sir. I'm pretty bummed out. I really wanted to win this whole thing. Weston, congratulations, bud.
Thank you. Good job.
But this has been one of the greatest experiences of my life. This is not the result I wanted, but at the end of the day, I'm here, I'm alive, I'm healthy, so I'm happy.
Weston, congratulations. You made a beautiful Zulu warax, and that makes you the Forged in Fire champion. That's a title that comes with a check for $10,000. Come forward and shake our hands, my friend.
I am the Forged in Fire champion, and I feel elated. I came here to prove that I could compete with some incredibly talented smiths, and I came out on top. It's been a blast.
Trip, Gene, congratulations. You fellas have made it into the next evolution of this competition. Now we're sending you back to your home forges to recreate this. Your final challenge is to forge a Marine Corps officer's sword, also known as a Mameluke. You'll have 4 days at your home forges in which to complete this challenge, and at the end of those 4 days, you'll return and present your swords to our panel of expert judges. And after they've thoroughly tested them, they'll move one of you forward to represent the Marine Corps at the Battle of the Branches final competition and give you that opportunity to win a check for 50 grand. Good luck, bladesmiths. We'll see you in 4 days.
Hoorah. Hoorah. Good luck.
So it's day one. I'm back at my home forge in Springfield, Virginia. So I think the more difficult aspects of the build are the parameters that I have to build it to. It's very specific and very tight. So we'll see what happens. Because the parameters are so tight on the bend of the blade, my crazy idea is to take a 6x6 log, and then I'm gonna remove all the excess wood, and it's gonna leave me with the blade shape that I want.
Wow, that went better than I thought.
I plan on heating up the metal and whacking it on this log, and it's gonna bend and conform to it. I've seen a lot of the smiths straighten out their blade with this slap on the anvil. So why not try to do it on a big old log and put an arch in it? It seemed to work pretty well. I like just jumped 4 hours ahead of my little schedule. I'm getting ready to heat treat it. I wanna keep it thick because I'm worried about a warp. Quenching. I am exhausted. The quench went great. I'm ready to hit the rack.
All right, so it's day two. I'm getting ready to jump right into some forging. Hammer time. Well, this is a very thin, long blade. So what's difficult about a thin and long blade is just the pure fact that it's gonna warp. I'm constantly having to hammer the big curves back out and try to keep it straight as possible, all while trying to draw it out and get the width and the thickness that I want. It finally meets parameters. I'm finally able to move on to quenching. If I was to pick up a crack, that's start over time.
Man, this thing can do anything in the quench here.
If this thing snaps, we're gonna be close to being screwed, man.
I don't see any warps. It looks like it's pretty straight.
Super stoked about that. After today, I feel pretty damn awesome.
Day 3, and I'm ready to get going on sand casting a guard for my Mameluke sword. I've never done any sand casting before. Go big or go home. The consistency of the sand is the big thing. I went with play box sand, mixed it with some kitty litter and some water. Got it to the right consistency and took a shot at it. I molded some clay in this rough shape of a guard, and I used that to mold the sand around. I pulled out the clay. Now I'm ready to heat up my brass.
Let's go cast some metal.
My mold is ready. My brass is a big pool of molten hot brass. I'm ready to pour it in, so I'm gonna go for it. I'm really hoping this sand cast goes well because I've used a lot of time, and if it doesn't, I don't know how I'm gonna recover.
Moment of truth coming up.
Holy cow, it worked. I can't believe it.
I just gotta knock the sand off, clean it up a little bit on the grinder. That's a guard.
We got a guard.
Day 4, man. Today, I've got to sharpen this blade, get it out of here. My K-bar didn't do so well in the rope cutting test, so I want this blade to cut through whatever those guys are gonna put this thing through. I want that Marine Corps anvil pretty damn bad just because I want to be able to represent the Marines in the Battle of the Branches. I believe I can come home with that 50 grand and represent the Marine Corps very well. Damn!
So this is the start of day 4. So today I got to start out with getting it all fit together. When Doug Marcaito swings this thing, it is going to slice whatever it goes into. I realized I had a little bit more time left, and I wanted to try to put the names of my competitors on the blade with some gun blue. Rick, Garrett, Tripp, and Gene. I'm pretty happy with it. I know it's going to cut. I am done.
All right, Marines, welcome to the kill test. To find out what lethal damage your weapon will do, I'll take your weapon and deliver killing blows to this ballistics dummy. Tripp, you're up first. You ready for this?
Get it, killer.
Hoorah.
Yikes.
Whoa!
Holy moly.
All right, Tripp. First up, the handle construction. It is comfortable. Your edge here is sharp. Even cutting through the skull, no issues at all. No chipping, no glinting. And when you thrust with this, it penetrates and cuts all the way out. Overall, sir, your weapon will kill.
All right, hoorah.
All right, Gene, you're next. You ready?
Let's do this.
Oh, no. It bent it. All right, Gene. Your weapon picked up a warp right here, okay? Your handle, coupled with blood all over it, made it very slippery and hard to hold on to because it's blocky and smooth. And I lost my grip on it. That's a very dangerous thing to happen when you're trying to wield the weapon. But your edge is still sharp, your tip is still thrustable, and more importantly, it will kill.
That'll work.
All right, gentlemen, it's time for the strength test. So to test the overall construction of your blade and see if they're going to hold an edge, I'll be smashing into these pots. Now remember, this test is not about what your swords do to those pots. What those pots do to your swords. Tripp, you're up. You ready?
Ready.
Okay.
Yep. Holy moly. Ah, dog.
Well, Tripp, a few things before we get to the obvious. Your handle construction is very comfortable. Felt really good in my hand, felt like I could do a lot with it. But right there at the edge, there's that little brown spot. You got a micro crack on that edge.
Yeah.
So as soon as I hit that pot, it cut loose. I loved it, feel its shape and its look, but obvious problem.
All right, Tripp, while I know any Marine could take that blade and still continue to fight, in this competition, your blade suffered a catastrophic failure after one strike on that vase. Gene, your blade only has to survive one strike on these pots.
The entire Marine Championship for Forged in Fire lies on one swing, and I've got a big old warp in my blade, so it's not over yet.
Nice job.
Gene, first off, you're in one piece. You picked up that bend earlier on, but you didn't pick up any more in this test. Strong blade, held up. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, Tripp, looks like Gene's blade held up. That means that you cannot move forward to represent the Marine Corps in our next challenge. Please leave the forge.
Super disappointed. There's really no way to tell that you have like any minor cracks or anything like that. So you just, hey, you find out when you test them. That's how we found out today. Get it, brother? Gene's gonna freaking bring home that Battle of the Branches Marine Corps anvil. He's winning it for the Marine Corps.
Gene, congratulations. You've won this competition, and that means that you're going to be moving forward into our Battle of the Branches final competition to represent the Marine Corps at the Marine Corps Anvil. And that's going to give you an opportunity to win a check for $50,000. Good job, brother.
Thank you. Holy cow. I did not see this coming. It's been a fun ride up until now, but now I got to represent the Marines. So now it's game on, and it's about to get real. Those other branch service members better look out.
My name is Scott Thomas. I am pretty much self-taught. I learned from the horseshoeing trade to how to swing a hammer, and the rest of it is just doing.
My name is Jonathan Wick. I spent 20 years as a goldsmith. It's always been a blade in my hand, a hammer in my hand, and a fire in front of me.
Gentlemen, congratulations. You made it into the final round. Now we're sending you back to your home forges to recreate an iconic blade from history. The Scottish claymore. The claymore was used by Scottish mercenaries in battle from the 15th to 17th century. The weapon, usually 55 inches in length, would have to be held with both hands, and swordsmen were unable to carry a shield, symbolizing fearlessness on the battlefield. The clansmen would swing the sword in figure-8 movements, decapitating and dismembering adversaries. Legend has it that Scottish knight William Wallace used a claymore in the War for Scottish Independence. This epic weapon has been immortalized in the classic movie Braveheart. The length of the blade must be between 39 and 47 inches. It must be an authentic, working version of that deadly weapon.
I'm terrified. This thing is by far the biggest blade that anyone makes. There's nothing bigger than a claymore.
You will have 5 days at your home forge to complete the construction of this blade. After 5 days, you will return to this forge and present your finished claymores to our panel of judges. Only after they submit those blades to a series of dynamic tests will they declare one of you the Forged in Fire champion and the recipient of $10,000. All right, well, good luck, bladesmiths. We'll see you in 5 days.
I am nervous as hell. When it comes to equipment, I'm more basic. This blower here is 120 years old. Here, it's these that's going to be doing all of this. The plan is get the blade forged out, ready for heat treat today. Crap. I'm looking at the blade and I'm looking at my drawing, and I'm realizing I shaped to the final image of the drawing. The problem is I had to forge less than the drawing so that I could stretch the blade out to the drawing. This is going to cost me some more time. I know I'm not going to get to the quench today. So it's day 2, and if I don't get it quenched today, then I'm doing something wrong. I'm going to have to grind those edges in before I can quench it. Yes! It's in the fire! Here goes nothing. The past day and a half of work has all been just to get to this point. If it goes wrong, then the project's dead in the water. Here we go. Up and in. I'm gonna pull this thing out. It's probably gonna burst into flames. Or not. Heat treatment went well. It didn't break.
Come on. It feels good to be home. I have the tools that I'm accustomed to using, and they may not be the best tools. Easy, old fella, but get the job done. I'm a smith. We smite things. It's a complex kind of piece. There we go. And I'm through. I'm not happy with it. I felt like scared and frustrated. Christ! It's just making me crazy. I'm having doubt that I'm not able to do this, that it's too big a job, that it's beyond me. I'm losing my mind. It's a new day. I'm feeling upbeat. The guard's looking good. The most crucial point is the hardening. Actually heating up pretty nicely. I'm liking it. Yes. This is the part that always makes me nervous. Yeah, baby. There is a God. I have the feeling that it's a good quench. This one's alive. This one's gonna float. This one's gonna fly.
Both of your claymores look fantastic. But as we know, looks are secondary to performance. With that, we're about to put your weapons through a series of tests. Doug?
Bladesmiths, this is the kill test. The term claymore in Gaelic means great sword. To see how lethal your weapon is and to test its functionality according to its historic design, I will deliver 2 killing blows on this animal carcass. Scott, you're up. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it. I see the pigs, and I'm thinking, oh, crap. I've cut test against pigs, and they don't cut very easily at all. Oh. The moment Doug hits the pig and I hear that thud, I'm like, crap.
Scott, we have a little problem here. The hardness of your blade is a little bit on the flexible side. It did not even cut the carcass. So that brings into question also the sharpness of your edge.
I'm thinking we're pretty much done.
Congratulations. It will not kill.
This is a failure.
Jonathan, you're up. Are you ready?
Absolutely. I'm confident that I made a good blade. The blade is hard and it's ready to cut. This is gonna be spectacular. Oh boy.
Jonathan, we have a major blade malfunction. It did initially cut through, but then it probably hit the spine. It just exploded.
I'm not completely confident that I'm gonna come out with the win here, but my blade cuts, and that's more than Scott's.
Jonathan, your blade suffered catastrophic failure. For safety reasons, we can no longer continue testing on your blade. Since both weapons have suffered malfunctions, Dave will now decide on the best course of action to move forward with the competition.
In the Viking sagas, swords broke. In the Song of Roland, swords broke. But bent swords can be straightened. So we'd like to give you an opportunity, Scott, to straighten that weapon so we can take it forward into a sharpness test to help us determine our winner. So, Scott, why don't you take a moment and straighten your weapon?
Okay. That's as straight as it's gonna get.
Now, not only was the claymore a battlefield intimidator, but it was also a Scottish symbol for physical prowess and strength. So what I'm gonna do to test the edge of your blade is I am going to cut into this piece of sheet steel. So, Scott, are you ready?
Let's do it. I've got a 50-50 shot that it's gonna do well. You know, I just wanna see what happens. I don't even wanna watch.
Well, Scott, there's actually still an edge here. We can see what it did to the steel.
Should have had the pig made out of steel. It probably would have cut better.
All in all, well done.
Thank you. Overall, I'm pleased. This was the first time I've ever made a blade of this size, of this complexity.
Gentlemen, this by far was our most difficult challenge to date. Congratulations, you both delivered your Scottish claymores. But there can only be one champion. Scott, congratulations, you are the Forged in Fire champion.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Good going. Yeah, thanks.
Jonathan, unfortunately, your blade did not make the cut.
Jonathan, the design of your blade was really going in the right direction. Basically, once that blade snapped, there just wasn't anything else we could do to test that blade, so that's why we're letting you go.
Jonathan, please surrender your weapon.
It's a great
Killed
pleasure.
me, man. Thank you, sir.
I'll be back. Absolutely proud of myself. With every failure, there's a great lesson learned, and I think I'm moving forward from here.
Scott, congratulations. You are the Forged and Fire champion, and you'll be receiving a check for $10,000. Good job.
I've never won anything in my life. This is the first time I've ever won anything. You try your best and you learn from it, and then you do it again until you perfect it. I mean, even though the sword didn't do what I wanted, it's still, okay, I won. I'm certainly gonna be buying drinks tonight.
Bladesmiths, congratulations. You've made it to the final round of this competition. Now we're sending you back to your home forges to recreate an iconic weapon from history. The golok. Originating in the Philippines during the 16th century, the golok featured a straight double-edged blade with no tip. Due to the Spanish occupation at the time, Filipinos were outlawed from having pointed swords, and the blade was often used for vegetation and chopping wood. However, by the Philippine Revolution in 1896, Filipinos adapted to the tipless weapon, and it became a weapon of war. It was so effective in battle, it inspired later variations of the weapon, such as the British military's Army golok in the early 1950s. Good luck, bladesmiths. We'll see you in 5 days.
My name's Matt Wagner. I run an auto body restoration shop, and I work with metal every day. I started watching Forged and Fire, and then one day I was like, you know what? I think I can do that. I'm ready to crank this baby up. I'm anxious because I've never made a sword this long. I want to win this competition because I've always thought I was meant to do something better. Today is our make or break it point. My main concern is quenching the blade because it could create massive warping. This is the big moment. It's freaking straight. So now that I'm quenched, I'd like to take a couple whacks at a piece of wood just to see what's gonna happen. I've shattered my blade into 3 pieces. This is an epic failure. I'm running out of time. I'm gonna have to start over. I might not finish this thing. My plan is to use a piece of leaf spring and get a complete sword forged out in one day. I'm working on a deadly timeline. I am just busting my... I gotta get my quench done by the end of day 4 because I don't know if I have a good blade yet. I may have to build another one tomorrow. You never know. It's cool pretty quick. I'm running out of time. If this blade doesn't harden with this quench, I'm really screwed. I got my fingers crossed. We've got a hard blade. I am super happy. Looks like I'm gonna have something for the big show.
My name's Brian Schmidt. I believe my great-grandfather was a blacksmith. So when I saw Forged and Fire, I wanted to try and make my own blades and just create memories with my family. I think I have a pretty good chance of winning. The basic shape of my blade is in there now. This is gonna be the golok. The blade's looking really nice. Got the handle set up for a lot of work today. The handle's made out of maple. It's also the part of the knife where I'm customizing it for myself a little bit. Yeah, not so bad. I think they turned out pretty nice. I sharpened my blade 3 times. That thing's razor sharp. All right, feels good. Now, wanna go test the blade, and my son is joining me. Ready? All right, here we go.
Ooh, awesome.
That thing slices right through. It feels good in my hand, so I think it's gonna do well. All right.
Very deadly.
Bladesmiths, to see what kind of lethal damage your weapon will do, we'll take your sword and deliver hacks and slashes on this big carcass. Brian, you're up first. You ready for this?
Absolutely. Depending on where you hit that blade, you know, it can always snap apart.
Bladesmiths, unfortunately, I'm still recovering from an injury. So, Anthony, one of my senior instructors of Muay Thai, will be the butcher to your pork chop. All right, Brian, let's talk about your blade. First up, your edge is razor sharp. It lacerated easily through bones, through the spine. The one issue here is that you have a very blocky handle. Aside from that, it will kill. Good job.
Thanks.
Matt, ready to chop?
I've been ready.
Let's do this. Okay, Matt, its balance and weight is very forward for a chopper, but your edge is sharp enough to lacerate into the carcass. It did chop the spine, it did chop bone. This will kill.
Thank you. Gentlemen, this is a strength test. To test the strength and durability of your edge, I'm gonna chop into these huge logs 10 times. Remember, this test is all about what happens to your weapons and not what happens to the logs. Brian, you're up first. Are you ready?
I think so, yep.
All right.
Made it.
Well, Brian, your edge held up perfectly. There's no bending, no warping, just still razor sharp all the way down. Man, it was fun to swing. Well done.
Thank you.
Matt, you're up. You ready?
Give it a try.
All right. Well, Matt, there's so much forward weight that it actually bent that way. On the plus side, your edge held up beautifully. I mean, there's no problems with that edge at all. It's still very sharp, but this S-bend in it, it's significant.
Bladesmiths, you both brought in some pretty extraordinary historic weapons. But in this arena of competition, there can only be one Forged in Fire champion. Brian, congratulations. You are the new Forged in Fire champion.
Thank you.
Matt, unfortunately, your blade did not make the cut.
Matt, your blade is impressive. We saw that it could kill, but unfortunately, in the strength test, it took a significant bend, and it's for that reason we have to let you go.
I understand.
Matt, please surrender your golok.
Even with losing at the end of the day, I don't feel like I really lost because I went way further than I ever expected. I don't know enough about it yet that I can make that perfect blade. So, you know, I'll keep learning.
Brian, you are the new Forged in Fire champion, and that comes with a check for $10,000. Good job.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Please present your weapon to the judges.
It feels great to be Forged in Fire champ. Can't believe I won. It's awesome. I would say if somebody wants to start learning how to make a knife, start out watching Forged in Fire. Just start at episode 1. Binge watch.